Hello YouTube, this is going to be my first repair video. I enjoyed repairing things and I don't like to throw stuff away. This is an old AKAI Keystation. Observe this ribbon here. You gotta lift up the clip to release the ribbon. And this mic needs a high pass. Check, yeah. So this thing was sitting in the barn for years on end, and I think the hot and cold climate just made these little rubber buttons stop working. So what happens is the electric connection just stops connecting. And what I'm going to do in this video is refresh the electric connection with a special kind of paint, graphite paint, that is made for electroplating, and it's alcohol-based paint, and it seems to work. This is my first time using it on this type of application, and so far so good. It works. And in this video, I'm going to include the good times and the bad times. It definitely didn't just work magically. Here you can see I'm testing the keys. Most of them don't work. I'm going to try and cut to the chase here for you guys. The purpose of this video is to just show anybody who's interested how it is definitely possible to bring some old gear back to life with a very low budget. This graphite paint was probably like $25, but you could probably get it cheaper if you make your own or something like that. Probably just graphite and alcohol. Initially, I scraped some graphite off of a pencil into one of these buttons to see if it would work, and it worked alright, not that great. So I figured I needed something a little more stronger, and I ordered this and also a bottle of artistic graphite for like drawing. It's supposed to be high 99% graphite or something, and maybe I'll do a video in the future of making the paint and seeing how it works. For now, here you can see me just roughly coating these buttons with graphite paint, and this is pretty sloppy. You might want to be less sloppy. I'm pretty sloppy. I went through some stuff. One thing you want to do for sure is give it some time to dry, like a good half an hour or an hour. One benefit of the alcohol-based paint is that it dries pretty quickly. I know you could find water-based, which is probably not ideal for electronics. Here I'm pointing out the way the buttons work. It's just like these nearly overlapping electric conductors that when you put the graphite button down onto it, it connects them. That's how remote control buttons work and most modern keyboards that I know of. Okay, so I painted all the buttons, gave it some time to dry, and this was a success on the first run. They all worked. Well, actually all of them but one worked, and I had to go back and repair the one key that wasn't working. I just gave it another coat, and that seemed to fix it. And actually, if my memory serves me, there was a little bit of graphite dust that had fallen from the rubber, and I cleaned that up. But that's definitely a good argument for getting out like a modeling paintbrush and doing a more tidy job, because I think the little bit of graphite that fell from the button was like a little chunk of excess paint. So yeah, this is my first time doing this. Trying to repair the buttons on a keyboard. Also my first YouTube video repairing stuff. So I'm just kind of improvising, going through, trying not to put too much production energy into the video, because I can get pretty meticulous and spend a lot of time on the details. That's not the point of this video. The point is just to sort of document something that I love, which is to fix things. And I couldn't find a video very easily about this. I did see one video where a guy used copper tape for stained glass work, and it was a totally different model of AKAI. This is an older one. Here I probably won't even put the audio in because it's just like all the keys working after repairing that one that didn't work. And so now all the keys are working here. The only problem I'm having now is that the octave up button is giving me trouble. So I'm deciding to go ahead and try and fix that octave up button in the same way that I'm fixing these keys. It's just another button with graphite on the bottom that connects two electric connections to make the signal go through. So yeah, it was just a degraded continuity in the graphite side of the circuit. So I'm pulling this out here in this section. It's I'm having a little bit of a hard time pulling this card out. It's just kind of wedged in there pretty tight, and I ended up just prying the plastic back a little bit to free the board out of the plastic housing. You can see I'm having kind of a hard time here. So yeah, I'm using my left hand to just pry that out, and there it came. Alright, here are the buttons. These guys are so here's an example of being hasty. I painted these buttons and I scrubbed the circuit board with alcohol. That's another thing that I should mention, is that I cleaned all the circuit boards with a toothbrush and some 91% alcohol. This is a good way to restore any electronics, really, to get any kind of oils or dampness, condensation buildup, cleared from the circuit board, anything that's sort of cross, it's allowing electricity to pass from one place to another where it shouldn't be. Just to take alcohol, 91% alcohol at least, and a toothbrush, and just scrub it up. Yeah, so here you go. Scrubbing those conductors to make them nice and dry and continuous, and doing a little brush up on the whole circuit board there. And what happened here is I was a little hasty, and I just threw the thing back together, and I didn't really wait for everything to dry. This takes a long time, so I get a little bit impatient. But yeah, so I just put it back together, and what ended up happening is a little bit of that graphite paint got painted onto the circuit board, and just made the octave up button stick on all the time. So as you power it up, it would move one octave up, and it was also making some horrible sound through the MIDI. Somehow the MIDI was like making the virtual instrument that I had it plugged into like crackle and pop. I don't know what was going on, but it was a case of just not waiting long enough for it to dry. So I took it back apart and cleaned it up again, repainted the buttons, and just allowed it to dry for like half an hour, and that did the trick. So in this segment here, I'm realizing what I've done, taking it back apart, and I'm going to show how the graphite paint got onto the circuit board, clean it up, and let it dry and put it back together. There you go. Boom. Yep. There it is. So when you brush this stuff with a toothbrush, it spreads it out all over the circuit board. See all that? And that's not something you want. You got to get all that off. This stuff is super conductive, and you don't want it to be hanging out on your circuit board in places where you don't want it to be. So you got to do a thorough job with the alcohol, but then wait long enough for it to totally dry. Okay, here I'm just putting this ribbon cable back on this connection between the keyboard and the main circuit board here. And these things can be a drag if you've never used them before. You just got to make sure the clip is unclipped when you're putting it back together, and then the clip is fastened once you put it together. So here I'm fastening it there with my thumb, and it's good to go. And now I'm just going to test out the keyboard one last time, and the octave button one last time, and show how it works. Alright, I hope anybody who watched this can get something out of it. Maybe fix a piece of gear for the first time, restore some otherwise trash. All this music has been made with an AKAI sampler and this little AKAI keyboard after it being fixed. So I'll just leave you with a short example of that here, and have a good day. Like and subscribe.